The reason most women fail to make a man chase them is because they're chasing themselves not in motion but in fragmentation. In a world that demands performance, they've lost touch with presence. Let us begin with this reflection. You do not become more desirable by becoming more impressive. You become magnetic the moment you stop fighting to be enough and instead return to your natural state, still aware and inwardly whole. You see, the most attractive women I have met did not wear desire on their sleeves. They wore clarity in their eyes. They were not loud, but you noticed them. They didn't ask to be chased, but you followed them in thought long after they had left the room. Why? Because what they carried inside themselves could not be bought. It could not be learned overnight. It was not in their beauty. It was in their balance. This balance is what the modern world has traded for urgency. But to make any man truly chase you, not for a moment, but with devotion, you must first return to this center. To be chased is not a goal. It is a consequence of your relationship with yourself. So if you wish to be unforgettable, don't start with him. Start with silence. Let's now walk through the path of self-mastery and emotional alchemy that draws true connection not through tactics but through transformation. There is a silence more powerful than words. Before the lips move, before the eyes even meet, something has already been communicated. It is subtle but unmistakable. A man senses it not through logic but through something deeper, intuition, instinct, a whisper of the body reading the body. That unspoken signal is energy, and energy, unlike language, does not lie. When we speak of how to inspire a man to chase you, we are not referring to tricks or games to a chase initiated by scarcity or manipulation. That chase ends as quickly as it begins, leaving both people emptier than before. Instead, we speak of a pursuit that emerges from resonance, the kind of pull that cannot be explained but can certainly be felt, a pull that comes from presence. Your energy precedes you. It is the silent messenger of your nervous system, your thoughts, your intentions. When you walk into a room filled with peace, clarity, and wholeness, you draw attention without asking for it, not because you are loud, but because you are still, not because you are flawless, but because you are fully yourself. Think of someone who once captivated you, not for their appearance, but for something else. Maybe they didn't say much, maybe they weren't even trying, but something about them made you lean in, made you want to know more. That was not performance, that was presence. This presence is biological. It is also spiritual. The brain's lyric system, the emotional core, responds instantly to signals of safety and congruence. A person whose inner world is aligned, whose body is not tensed in invisible defense, becomes a safe space, and safety is deeply attractive. In contrast, a person who is scattered, anxious, or trying too hard to prove something sends mixed signals. The body detects this long before the mind rationalizes it. Emotional energy is a frequency. Just as a radio tunes into specific bands, people are tuned to certain energies. When your energy is calm and grounded, you transmit stability. And stability is rare. A man who senses it is pulled toward it, not the illusion of attraction vs. inner power to control it, but to rest in it. He may not even understand why, but he will remember how he felt near it. Not judged, not needed, not expected to perform, just seen as he is. But this energy cannot be faked. It must be cultivated. A woman once came to me, her voice low with frustration. "Why is it," she asked, "that I keep getting attention from men who lose interest the moment I stop chasing them? Why do they not pursue me with intention?" She believed the issue lay with them, but as we spoke, something emerged. She carried a deep fear of being alone. In every interaction her words were calm, but her energy screamed, "Please don't leave. Please choose me." This desperation was invisible to the eye, but not to the heart. It quoted every sentence, every silence, and the moment a man felt that pull, he instinctively stepped back, not because he was cruel, but because something felt off. Her words invited him forward. Her energy warned him away. This is why we must first attune to ourselves before trying to connect with another. When you embody the energy of need, you create repulsion. When you embody the energy of wholeness, you create magnetism. There is a reason monks, even in silence, are deeply compelling. Their energy does not demand, it invites. Their presence does not try to be seen, it simply is, and in that stillness others feel themselves. Men do not chase women who are needy. They chase women who make them feel needed, not because the woman lacks, but because she inspires the man to rise. This is not a contradiction. It is a subtle truth. Neediness stems from lack, need in the noble sense. Being valued, being wanted is a gift to the masculine. When a man senses you are whole, but that you choose him not from fear but from preference, he feels honored. And that honor becomes devotion. How do you cultivate this energy? It begins with nervous system regulation. Breath is the foundation. When you breathe slowly, deeply, and intentionally, your body enters a state of safety. From this place, your eyes soften, your voice slows, your thoughts untangle, and you become aware not of what you must do to attract, but of what you must release to return to yourself. This is the first step to being chaste. Not to perform, not to pursue, not to ask what should I say, but to ask instead, what energy am I holding? In one village, there was a woman named Henna. She was not particularly beautiful by the world's standards. Her clothes were simple, she spoke gently, but wherever she went, people felt something change. They breathed easier. Children sat quietly near her. Men who passed by often turned to watch her walk away, as though she carried a secret the world had forgotten. One day a young girl asked her, "How do you make everyone feel so calm?" Ohana smiled, "Because I no longer try to make anyone feel anything. I learned to be with myself, and now wherever I go, I simply bring myself." This is the lesson. You are not required to chase. You are required to return to yourself, to your breath, to your center, and from that place, the right people will feel you long before they understand you. Now, when we speak of emotional resonance, we must also speak of timing and space, which brings us to something most people misunderstand: the value of mystery. Mystery is not about withholding. It is not about playing games or pretending to be disinterested when your heart is full. Mystery in its highest form is the result of depth. When you live fully, when you feel deeply, when you nurture your soul, you become layered, and those layers are not quickly revealed. They cannot be. For what is profound cannot be rushed. The modern mind seeks instant access. We are conditioned to expect fast answers, fast intimacy, fast validation. But emotional depth does not live in speed. It lives in unfolding. When a man meets a woman who offers all of herself too quickly, he may be pleased but not moved. He may be entertained but not transformed. What changes a man is not the availability of the woman's body, but the mystery of her being. That mystery is not something you create. It is something you protect. When you rush to reveal every thought, every plan, every feeling, you collapse the sacred space that longing needs to grow. You see, pursuit is not driven by knowing. It is driven by not fully knowing, by curiosity, by tension, by the hope of discovering something more. This is supported by research in neuropsychology. The brain's reward system is not activated most by certainty, but by anticipation. Dona means but not when we receive the thing we desire, but when we are about to receive it. This means that when you hold back not from fear, but from alignment, you give the masculine mind the very thing it craves, the journey towards something worth earning. A man once told me about the woman who changed his life. He met her during a retreat in the mountains. They shared long walks, short conversations, and moments of shared silence. She never tried to impress him. She laughed easily, but did not explain herself. She would sometimes disappear for hours, returning with herbs or stories she had gathered from strangers. There was something in her eyes that suggested oceans lived behind them. He could see the shore, but not the bottom. I didn't fall in love because she told me everything. He said, I fell in love because I couldn't stop wondering what else was there. This is not manipulation. It is mystery, and mystery is not withholding love. It is revealing it like a sunrise, slowly, tenderly, allowing the light to grow, not explode. There is also power in space. When you do not rush to fill every silence, you allow the other to step into it. When you do not reply instantly, you create the conditions for yearning, but to do this requires trust, not in the other, but in life itself. It requires knowing that if a connection is true, time will not break it. That if a man is truly aligned with your frequency, he will not forget you. He will be drawn to you not because you reminded him, but because your energy lingered. This is why wholeness is essential. When you are full within yourself, you are not afraid of space. You do not fear waiting. You do not interpret stillness as rejection, and so paradoxically you become more pursued, more desired because your energy is not chasing, it is resting, and rest is rare. A woman who is not afraid of being alone becomes irresistible because her presence is not desperate. It is sovereign. In Eastern philosophy, the Tao speaks of the feminine as the valley, the space that receives, holds, and nourishes. It does not climb, it does not shout, it draws water to itself by being low. This is not weakness, it is the ultimate strength. To embody emotional discipline and magnetic stillness, mystery is not to hide. It is to reveal slowly, to speak when the moment is ripe, to leave room for the other to seek, not because they are manipulated to do so, but because they are magnetized by something they cannot yet name. Remember this, to make a man chase you is not to make him run. It is to inspire him to walk toward you steadily, intentionally, because your energy does not demand, it invites. And invitation is more powerful than instruction. There is a quiet rebellion more powerful than loud declarations. It is the rebellion of emotional discipline in a world addicted to reaction. Most people do not realize this. When you learn to master your emotions, you do not become cold. You become free. In relationships, particularly romantic ones, it is easy to confuse vulnerability with reactivity, but they are not the same. Vulnerability